So today we are in the Superior National Forest and have embarked upon a 6-day overnight paddle in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. We just pushed off at entry point 25 on Moose Lake. Our goal is to get to Ensign, maybe to Vera today. It's about 7:30 and we've got about 4 or 5 hour paddle in front of us, a little bit of portaging, so we should be out there midday, hopefully find a good campsite, and here pretty soon we're going to drop a line in and just see if we can control something along the way. We really lucked out on the water. It's almost glass out here. Starting out, the bugs were attacking us. I could put in, but out here on the water it's doing pretty good. Our goal for this trip is to get into some walleyes. I'm sure we'll catch some pike along the way, but if we have any luck, we also have our trout stamps to maybe pull out a lake trout. But we'd be happy with anything, honestly. I've got a Troy built motor on the stern. Say hi, Troy.
Hey, heading to Canada. See ya.
And anyway, we got a couple other yahoos behind us, but we didn't get out 50 yards out into the water and they were already putting a fishing line in. Troy and I will get out and we'll figure out where we're going here. Those guys will be in tow eventually, I'm sure. So this is our 4th year as an annual. We have been to Farm Lake our 1st year, Snowbank our 2nd year, and then we ended up going back to Farm Lake last year. It was kind of a last minute permit and availability. This year we're on Moose Lake and we're hoping to get up near the Canadian border throughout this week and hopefully can see a little bit of the Canadian wilderness from the canoe anyway. Just finished our first portage of the trip, 30 rods. Went really well. Actually, I feel like I have more room in the boat this year than last year, so must be doing a good job of packing. It looks very moosey over there. We're on Splash Lake, and our next portage is a real short one, only 5 rods. Just enough to piss you off. But it's been a great morning so far. A little bit of an overcast, clouds in the sky, but it's perfect temperature. Bugs have been a non-issue since we've been on the water, so it's worked out really well. I think our portage is right over here, so pretty small lake. Our guys in the other boat did have got a pike earlier on Moose Lake. I'm gonna start out with a Black Fury rooster tail. Got onto Ensign Lake after a couple short portages. Got out to the middle of the lake here and where it narrows, so we're gonna see if we can get a fish on. First cast? Nope.
Oh, no big pike.
We are on the portage between Ensign and Vera Lake, and it's no joke. 198 rods, rocky, hilly, and we're just kind of been leapfrogging it just to break it up a little bit. But it's good news is we're in our last lake of the trip for today. We'll find a campsite once we get everything in and be able to settle down a little bit. Almost to the end. I think we're almost there, aren't we?
I think so. I don't see it's down around. I feel like that's Alaska to last.
Definitely going down now.
I feel like this is where they said, you're almost there, suck it up.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just up here. Welcome to Vera Lake. So we just paddled across the lake. There's only 5 campsites on this lake, but there's I think 2 of the 5 were occupied. So we did find one, a really primo site. It's got some nice trees to hang hammocks. We got 4 hammocks hung, and really just a nice area to view on the south side of the lake. We're viewing the north side. With any luck, we might see some northern lights tonight. Just got the hammock set up here. It's been a hodgepodge of gear. Have an Eno double nest and then a wise owl underquilt, and have a Madeira bug net, so that'll come in handy. As I can tell, the mosquitoes are already going to be an issue come later on this evening. But I've had a great time so far. We did a little bit of fishing on the way in, but just didn't take it seriously because we wanted to make sure we found a good campsite. But we got that done, so now we're going to get our kitchen all set up and a fire going just to ward off some of the mosquitoes on the site. But I'm optimistic that a little bit later, when the breeze picks up, it's going to be a beautiful sight to enjoy the rest of the evening. Good morning. So yesterday when we got to the campsite, we were pretty well exhausted. We got things set up, cooked a few steaks and just chilled by the fire. Tried to stay away from the mosquitoes, but made it an early night and got a good sleep. We had been traveling for a full day to get here, and then spent a whole day just getting out into the wilderness away here on Vera Lake. Got up early, about 5 a.m. and got out in the boats and spent maybe an hour and a half fishing here in Vera Lake with no luck. Come to find out after a little research, there's not a whole lot of population of fish in here, so we went back and had a little breakfast, and now we are just going to portage into a couple other lakes and try our luck there. So just a little short paddle to the portage and we'll be on our way again. So our goal for this little jaunt is to find a lake with lake trout, and maybe in possibly some brookies. Be nice to be able to make it worthwhile to camp on Vera, since the fishing there is not great. The map doesn't show the next portage to even know where it's at. We're in the wilderness now. Whew. Tree. How in the hell am I supposed to get up here? Without falling on my ass like I did the last one.
Yeah, I did too.
Nope. Alright, here we go. Sheer willpower. There we go. I see water.
Good.
This is bushwhacking. Oh, very clear water. All right, I get my footing. Try to turn this over without filling with water. Guess it's going this way. Hell yeah.
Fucking slippery.
Got a spot. There we go. It's all gonna be worth it.
Fucking A right. Is this the lake?
This is it.
This is it.
Only dumped it once.
Yeah.
When I went up that rock, that big
Oh,
sheer
yeah.
face,
Yep.
I couldn't see what I was stepping on. It went over, and I just dragged it up that rock and then reestablished. But we had a failed mission into those 3 little lakes. Saw a lot of minnows in each one, but didn't see any fish of any size that were catchable. And going to reassess the rest of the afternoon and evening if we're going to venture over into Knife Lake. I believe it's a 200 portage. See if we could pack up and get over there, find another campsite, get set up before dinner. With any luck, we'll see how much energy we think we have once we get back to the campsite. Of course, right now we're in the heat of the day, Probably 1:32. The sun's been blazing down on us. So it would be nice if the breeze picked up, keep us a little bit cool off, and keep the mosquitoes at bay. Sounds a lot bigger than what it is. Wow, wilderness beard is coming in good. All right, one short paddle to the campsite. Boys, what are we thinking so far?
Righteous.
So sleepy, are you?
Yeah, sleepy.
All right, so after a vote 4-0 to not go to Knife this evening, we had a revote, a 4-0, and then we had a successful petition to to recount the vote, and we are now staying in Vera for this evening. Way too hot out there today, so we did not get out there and get any other fishing in, because obviously there isn't any fish here. But the plan is for the evenings just chill here, get some rest up, and get up early, crack of dawn, headlamps on, probably not, and head our way over to Knife and on a 200 rod portage, right? 198. Well, it'll be 200, probably 400 there and back a couple times. But the goal is then to get into Knife Lake, find a great campsite there, and stay a couple nights, catch a lot of fish. We have yet to fry up any fish, which is very disappointing for day 3 of the venture, right? Day 2. This is day 2, almost day 3. So anyway, we'll see you in the morning bright and early, and on the way to Knife. Have a good night. Morning, day 3. Got up early and getting things packed. Gonna head off into the cross lake, a short paddle, and 200 rod portage into Knife Lake. And we haven't had any coffee, breakfast, or anything yet. Just drink some water, some fluids in us, and hopefully we'll be able to get over there in decent time. But the bugs are horrendous this morning. Supposed to be getting rain in the next 2 to 3 days, so I have a feeling that the weather has something to do with it. But just about ready to head out. Got our first crew headed out across. See you in a bit. We don't have our campsite yet. That was fun.
Yeah.
All right, our word for today is proprioceptors. It is when your body adjusts to uneven terrain. So if you've ever done any trail running, true trail running, the trail is uneven from one stride to the next, but your body is picking up and using those proprioceptors to make those minute adjustments. And it's very reminiscent of what we're dealing with in this portage trail. Well, we're almost done with this 200 rod portage. It has been a death march, but we're getting there. We've just been double carrying and leapfrogging gear, but we'll definitely be ready for a coffee. The bugs down here are, I think, bigger mosquitoes than they were at the last campsite. But we're almost there. We'll be back on the water in no time. Must have coffee. Energy is depleting to critical levels. Whoever worked on that trail, thank you. Very well made. We made it. Finally, victory is ours. Welcome to Knife Lake. Beautiful. Oh, that tastes good. All right. Well, at least we got the longest portage of the trip behind us. About 8:15 on Friday, right?
What's that?
Friday, isn't it?
Today?
Yeah.
We traveled Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yep, today's Friday.
Okay. Lost all sense of time. Days of the week.
Well, let me look at my Apple Watch.
Right.
Now it's kind of
Yep. Fucking fishing poles.
just break them off.
One fishing pole next year, that's it. I say that every year and I end up bringing two every year.
As soon as you do that, you know what's going to happen.
I know. I'll just whittle out a cane pole and use it that way.
You say you had some sites kind of eyeballed that you thought would be good?
Well, I think, is that the site over there? I think there's one on this point, but then there's like 4, 5, 6 of them all along that shore. A couple of them on that, well, yeah, because actually, technically what we see there is the Canadian wilderness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Canadian.
Huh.
This is the U.S. I think there's 2 campsites right on the border on an island right up here. It's right on, probably has a marker on the island actually.
Watch it. It's gonna fall straight down. Excuse you. What are those white ones? Are those poppers? The front one looks dead as shit. The back one maybe. Damn near there.
The big tall one.
Yeah.
Oh man, that looks like a, oh that's a walleye, yep.
That is a big walleye.
Want me to grab him?
If you can, I'll bring him to you if you can grab him. Unless you want me to grab him.
It's easier for you to get him. Nice. That's what we're here for. Troy caught his first walleye of the trip. So just holed up on an island over here. He's back behind me cleaning it. But the wind has picked up. It's getting to be a little choppy across the lake here on Knife. But we at least got one on the board, and well, at least have some for dinner. Be nice if I caught one here, just sitting here flicking the jig out off this point. Kind of tucked in here behind the wind. Water is just crystal clear out here. It's amazing. Probably can see down 10, 12 feet once you get out there, if not further.
You want cheeks or eyes or anything out of this thing?
Did you save the wings?
Can.
The walleye wings?
That's the right in the middle brisket, right?
Yeah, it's just those.
Right here.
Yep. Big enough for cheeks?
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Might be the only walleye we get this trip. Somehow I doubt it. Hopefully they got into a mess of them too. Alright, so let's do a little recap of what we've done so far. So we started out at entry point 25 on Moose Lake and made our way a couple miles into Newfound Lake and followed the shoreline here through Horse Island, and then hugged this corner through here on this first portage into Splash Lake, it looks like. We had a couple small portages through here, and then we got into Ensign and tried fishing along through here through these narrows. Didn't have any luck, but Ensign is a long lake, a lot of campsite choices. Originally our plan was to stay in this area, but after talking with the outfitter, we ended up coming back up through here, through this little cove, and then we had this 180 rod portage into Vera Lake, and then found this campsite where we stayed the first 2 nights. And we took a day trip through here on Trader Lake, and then found an old trail that went in through Negligee. Heard that this was pretty good for some trout in here. There's a lot of minnows in there, but we never found any. Never got into them there. So hot the day we came back, we considered actually going back and packing up and then coming into Knife, but that's where we opted to stay at that second night, last night actually, and then got up this morning about 5 o'clock and then headed into this 200 rod portage into Knife. And we believe that this is Isle of Pines, where Dorothy Moulter had once lived, the last legal resident in the Boundary Waters. And we ended up on a campsite, I believe it's in this one right here. And then today we have been fishing. One crew went this way, the other crew went this way, came back. But the good thing is we do have walleye to cook for tonight.
For the camera, we could just do a one-hander.
There you go. We brought those fish back, fried them up, had a great dinner. Prepared in our favorite way of just doing walleye fish tacos with scrambled eggs and some good sauce on it. Sun just set here a little bit ago. We ended up kind of button down the hatches because there's a chance of rain. We knew in the forecast before we came out here, but as soon as we hit Knife Lake, we have no reception up here, so we can't even check the weather, which is okay. But we're all prepared. We have a tarp set up if we need to throw things underneath there, but we're just going to chill by the fire a little bit later tonight and enjoy the rest of the evening. Good morning. It's day 4 and we are out on the water early. Got up about 5 o'clock, got some coffee, a little bit of oatmeal, Last night was probably our warmest night sleeping. Hardly any breeze at all. Just kind of hanging out, sweating in the hammock until daylight, pretty much. So we're out here on the water early. We might have a little bit of weather coming in today to contend with, but we're hoping that we can get out here early, get some fish, have a nice brunch a little bit later this morning. Calm conditions this morning, but another nice, beautiful morning out here on Knife Lake. See what we can get.
It's definitely a walleye. He's bobbing his head like crazy.
Keepers. Another nice one. That'll do.
Sure, he's gonna taste pretty tasty.
Mm-hmm. So far, had a pretty good morning. Got out there and was able to get one in our boat. We know the other guys had another one. They're still out there, but we just came back to shore. Gonna clean it up and get ready to have some nice brunch. Eating raspberries.
You crawled up the bush.
That's what caught my eye the first time.
A couple of walleyes caught this morning, so opted to save those for dinner in case we didn't get anything tonight. Brian and I are out this afternoon. We were going to try to get out to a point where he found about, what did you say, 75 feet deep?
75 meters.
75 meters. So we're going to try for some Lakers, but pretty windy conditions out there in the open. Playing it safe. Forecasted today to hit 87. We're guessing it pretty much did that, so best place to be this afternoon was in the water, just off camp. Took some time to kind of butt down the hatches in case the storm roams in tonight. Did a little bit of laundry. Hung a couple tarps to hang out under later on if we need to.
I'm 15 back here.
Troy and Brian was able to pull another walleye out of the lake. It's been a hot one today. We spent quite a bit of time taking a nap and taking a swim. We attempted to go out a little earlier here this evening, but the wind was so strong that it was hard to get anywhere in a decent amount of time. So rested up. Now we're just cooking our dinner, and we'll start packing up, and tomorrow we're going to be heading on the road back. After tonight, got one more night, probably another 6-mile paddle and portage tomorrow until we find another campsite. Our next move is going to come along the border here and get through these portages into Carp Lake and then Birch Lake, and then once we get through here, it should be fairly smooth sailing to get back and around and into Sucker, and then our last night somewhere maybe along Horseshoe, or on the second map here there's a few campsites here to stay the last night, so that way on our last day we will get back to the entry point. So we made a nice little loop out of that whole deal.
So what do you think, man?
Got a fun big travel day in front of us, and packed up early, and got probably an 8-mile trek today, 7-8, depending on how far we get. We are headed back west on Knife, and we'll be greeted with what we believe is a 175 rod portage, and then after that might be 1 or 2 small ones, but most of today is going to be paddle. Got the sun rising behind us. We're out early, packed in, cool air across the lake this morning, nice and calm compared to last night. Might do a little fishing along the way. I am the only person in the crew who has not successfully brought a fish aboard, so we've got that goal yet to achieve, but everything else, the trip's going well, and got one more day after today to get back to civilization. So we just saw a bear cub over there on that far shore on the Canadian wilderness side. Might have been a year old, maybe. Pretty cool sighting, our first time seeing a bear out here. Got Canada over here and the US right here, going right down the middle. Well, we got to the first portage, and we're using 2 different maps. One of them, my map says it's a 75 rod, several 15, like 3 15s and a 125, or one short portage of 25. Whereas the other map says it is 175 rod portage. However, we just did the first stint here. I'm not even sure if it was 75, so we'll just keep going and see how it goes. But we're off to a great start. It's probably not even 8 o'clock yet, but got a fun day of adventure in front of us.
July 28th. Take your kids fishing in the Boundary Waters.
Spent a little time in that pond between the portages fishing. Pulled a few crappies out of there. Now we're on a 15 rod portage headed to the next one. So we're just taking our time and double carrying gear. You can tell right now my right hip is a little sore this morning. Not exactly sure why, but the weather so far is cooperating. We've got a falls coming up here that sounds pretty raging. Must be a nice drop off.
I'm the bronze, right? But you guys have a good trip now.
I think this is our final 15 rod portage and this little chain. I think we have one more 25 rod and then maybe a 40 after that. And then we should be smooth sailing the rest of the day. Back for the second load. Just got on to Birch Lake. All the portages are done for today. We may have one short little one, but the rest of it is going to be paddle. So the weather's starting to turn a little bit. Had some cloud cover and a little bit of wind to deal with, but we're getting there. That's using the wind to their advantage. And 3 canoe catamaran. Very cool.
Came down through here, cut that cove, up around here. We're coming down here now. So we just went past this here. So I think we're in a straightaways here, just about to that island, which is that one right here. So if you see campsite right there, there's people on it. That's that campsite right there.
That's not even on my map.
Yeah. So there should be one at the end of this cove right here on the corner to the left. And we're gonna cut down through, right through there. That's where we're going. So.
We just arrived on our final campsite of this adventure. We believe this is Horseshoe Island. Got a nice point on this island site with fire pit overlooking the water. We really lucked out with the weather so far today. Had some cloud cover, a lot of wind earlier. We battled the wind to get into where we wanted to be. So I think this is in the connection between Newfound Lake and Sucker Lake is where Horseshoe Island is. So we should have about a 3, maybe 4 mile paddle tomorrow back to the entry point, but we're gonna get set up camp and make some lunch because we haven't eaten all day other than coffee this morning. So, but great, wonderful day of adventure, travel today, and be fun to be able to sit down and relax and just overlook this little point here. Give a little tour of our campsite. We're able to hang the hammocks back in here in this little grove of pines. Plenty of spots to hang our hammocks. Sat in here in the shade with a nice view of the lake.
Doesn't lock that, huh? That's not good at all.
And here's my spot. Not putting a quilt on the last 2 nights has made a difference. Got better sleep, stayed cooler.
Yeah.
Do we have any water down there?
I don't know if they do or not.
Got Chef Brian on the griddle tonight, making some flapjacks, over easy eggs, side of bacon. Like a professional.
I can do better than that.
All right, dinner is done. We're headed out to try to get one last fishing session in before we call it a night. Come back by the fire. A little bit of thunder rolling off in the distance, but I think we'll be all right. We got things kind of buttoned down here, so that way we don't run into anything getting wet. So headed out, wish us luck.
This little guy.
There you go. Island campsite. We determined that this is not actually Horseshoe Island. It's another island, smaller one next to it, but should have a short jaunt the rest of the way tomorrow. All pretty exhausted, shoulders, especially from the wind today, but it's been a great trip overall.
Yeah. At first I thought that might have sounded like an elk, but woolly bird.
Pretty sure they don't have elk around here.
Kind of sounds like it at first though, doesn't it?
I have like an elk bugling.
Yeah. Makes no sense to me.
Hmm?
So that makes no sense to me.
Why?
How does the plastic not melt on that hot grate?
Because water can't go above 230 degrees or something like that.
No.
Wherever the boiling point is. So it cools the plastic. The only thing is it'll probably melt where I don't have the water.
Yep. It is. It's shrinking.
Yeah.
Good morning. Morning of day 6. We got up, slept in till about 5:30 this morning. Packed up camp, had a little coffee. We're on the water by 7. We've had about a 3 to 4-mile paddle this morning back to the entry point. We just got back onto Moose Lake. We have a little bit of ways to go yet. But fantastic week out here. 5 nights, 6 days total. Weather really cooperated. We didn't have any rain whatsoever, although we did see a little bit of lightning last night off in the distance. So we lucked out there. Sitting around the campfire last night, we thought our total fish count got up to 18 this week, which is not great, but we were all able to catch some fish. I even caught, landed one walleye in the boat, and had a smallie and a largemouth that did a quick release right next to the boat. Just didn't get it in, but Troy gave me the putt in and told me they counted, so we're gonna count. I got a total of 3. But we were able to have a couple nice walleye fish fries and make some fish tacos out of them, so that worked out really well. It's always good to be able to do that while we're out here. But it's been a fantastic week, and we're going to be headed back here this afternoon. 7-8 hour drive, maybe more for some of us. And I think start planning for next year's trip. Enjoyed doing a big loop like we did here from Moose out to Knife through Vera. I think we did a reverse order what most people do, but it worked out well anyway. So we're going to end the video here. Just remember to always make every outing an adventure, and we'll see you in the next.
Is it just recording? All right.
You're number 4 in the books.
Hell yeah.
Only about a 3-mile left to go.
Hoorah.
Much closer to Wilbur.
Starting to feel awkward.